Hello everybody, today we're doing a video for GTA Car Kits in a 2018 Infiniti Q70, and today we're going to show you how to install our Apple CarPlay and Android Auto kit. As you can see, it's already installed into this car. It's been paired to iPhone wirelessly. You can also pair it to your Android phone wirelessly. The entire system gets controlled either through these controls here, or you can use the original touchscreen of the car. All of the sound is done through the original Bluetooth of the car. It uses the original microphone of the car, so you don't need to wire anything extra there. All of the Infiniti stuff is still accessible. If you have a rear camera, it will still all show up, so you can go back and forth. Nothing gets disabled, and this is like an extra function that gets added to the original system. And now we're going to show you how to install it in this car. So the tools you're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver. This is a panel removal tool, our hook tool, and you're going to need our product. With using our hook tool, the first thing we're going to remove is this trim piece around the bottom. So we're very carefully going to insert our tool here, not to scratch anything. And once we insert it, we're going to turn it, and then we're able to pull on it to unlock this clip. Same on the other side. And it just comes out. As you can see, there are just two clips here. With using our Phillips screwdriver, we have to remove two bolts. So there's one on the passenger side and one on the driver's side. Both driver and passenger side, we have these trim covers here, and we're going to remove both of them. So we're going to start on the driver's side. We're going to use our panel removal tool to get carefully underneath here and unclip it on the side. And there are two more clips that are facing forward, and there you go. Now same thing on the passenger side. Once we unclip the sides, then we can pull it towards ourselves. Next, we're able to remove this silver trim piece with the controls for the stereo. So we're gonna use our panel removal tool on the side. So there's a clip on both sides towards the top. So we did the passenger side. Now we're gonna do the driver's side. And it pops out. As you can see, these are the two clips. And we're carefully gonna move this trim piece to the side, but we're not going to disconnect it. Now there are two more bolts that we need to remove, both passenger and driver side, and again we're going to use our Phillips screwdriver. Next one to be removed is this climate control panel. So we're going to use our hands, our fingers, and then help ourselves with the panel removal tool. So you're going to start to pull on it from the bottom, and then you're able to insert the tool and pop it open. And on the back here, you're going to see there's a connection that has a clip at the bottom. So you just squeeze the clip. And then over here towards the passenger, as you can see, these two are connected together. So we're just going to take them out together. And then when you're putting it back, this wire has to go in between here. Next, in order to remove the vents, we need to remove three more bolts. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Same thing, they're Phillips screwdriver. We're going to start removing the vents from the bottom. So we're going to pull it towards ourselves. We can also use our tool here to help towards the top. There's clips here, and then there's clips right along there. And then once all unclipped, and carefully tilt it. And at the back, there's one connection that you're going to press and disconnect. The last bolt that holds the screen in is right here in the middle. So as you can see, all the other ones we removed were black, but this one has silver color. So make sure that you put it at the right spot because the thread on it is a little bit different. Now grab the screen from the bottom, tilt it. As you can see, these are the two guide clips. Tilt it more. Now we're going to disconnect everything. So first, these are the two connections here. These are the same two connections where our kit is going to connect to. And then all of the bottom connections. So press the clip here. And then these ones, you can use your screwdriver to press on top of each of these connections and unclip and disconnect them. So now we're able to remove the screen, and we're going to take it inside and show you everything we're going to install inside of it. So now we're going to show you everything that comes in our kit. So you have your user manual, and then for this Infiniti kit, you have the circuit board, which we're going to install inside of our screen. This is our ribbon cables for the inside of the screen. This is our wireless antenna. We have a cable that is also going to go inside of our screen. This is our main harness that gets connected at the back of the original screen inside the car and then into the module. And then we have our main module. In order to install everything inside of our screen, we're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. You also can use a hook tool in order to help you. And these are the things that we're going to install. So the circuit board, this extra wire for the circuit board, the ribbon cables, the clips that hold the circuit board in place. First, we need to remove this bracket off the screen. So there are 2 bolts on each side. With 4 bolts removed, we can grab this bracket on the sides here, carefully remove it. We need to remove the back cover from the screen, and there's a lot of these small little Phillips bolts that hold it in place. So we'll start with the 4 right at the back of the screen. Next, we'll remove the 3 bolts on each of the shoulder sides. Then once the bolts are removed, you can also remove this metal cover. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now 2 more on each of the longer sides. So now we can separate and remove the rear cover from the screen. And on the side here, there's one connection that you need to disconnect. That's for the fan. Now we need to remove this bolt right in the middle. Now we're going to start disconnecting the original circuit board. So first we'll disconnect this big ribbon cable. So I'm just using my finger here to lift it up and disconnect it. Then we'll unclip this smaller one. So lift up the clip and then you're able to disconnect this ribbon cable. So this is responsible for your touch screen. Then using my fingernail, I'm going to pop the lock up here and disconnect this one. Here we're going to disconnect this cable. You just lift it up and move it to the side, and now we can grab the entire circuit board and take it out. So this is our circuit board, and we're going to install it inside of the original screen. So we're going to do it in a way that it makes it the easiest to follow. So first what we're going to do is we're going to take our ribbon cable that came with our kit, and we're going to put it in here into this connection. So make sure that the lock is unlocked, and then you insert this ribbon cable all the way in and then lock it in place. And we're going to start putting everything in. So first, while it's in the air, the easiest is to connect the original connection for the ribbon cable. Once it's inside, lock it in place. Then here, we're going to feed the original ribbon cable through. Unlock this lock, carefully insert the original ribbon cable into our connection. So you got to make sure that it goes all the way in. You're going to see that these corners here have to line up perfectly and that the cable is fully inside and is making good contact. And once it is, we're going to lock it in place. Now we're going to take our ribbon cable and we're going to connect it to the top lock here. Same thing, you're going to line it up the same way as before we showed you and lock it in place. As you can see, the entire circuit board is still loose. And at this point, we can grab one of our locks here. We're going to start in the middle, insert the lock. This is like a locking clip. Insert it and then lock it in place. And there's one on the side and then on the other side. At this time, it's also a good time to connect this cable. This cable you're actually going to bring out outside the screen. It's important to put it in the right way. So this is the right way where you can see the metal locking clips of the cable connection. If this way, just plastic, that's the wrong way. So we're going to insert it this way and clip it in all the way. Now we're able to put back the original circuit board. So we're going to do it in the sequence that makes it the easiest. So while it's still in the air, the first connection that you're going to connect is right here on the side. So make sure that this lock is unlocked, and then you insert the original connection into your circuit board. And once it's all the way in, lock it in place. Next, we will connect this ribbon cable. So this is our ribbon cable getting connected to the original circuit board. So with the lock unlocked, put it all the way in and then lock it in place. At this point, we're going to maneuver the circuit board into its original position so it lines up with the hole here. And then we can connect this cable on the side. Now it's a good time to secure the circuit board with that bolt in the middle. And as you can see here, there's still the big ribbon cable is not connected, so we're going to connect that. So line it up, make sure it's within the locks on both sides. Then we're going to lock it in place. Now we can reinstall the original back cover, so make sure not to forget the fan here, the connection for the original fan. And here, this is the extra cable that gets brought out from the screen. So this is where the mistakes can happen a lot. So when you lock it in place, it might pull on the cable, so it gets slipped out from our circuit board, which can cause a bad image. Or at this point, if you're not careful enough, this is both sharp metals, and you can just cut our cable. So here, pull it towards the side gently. Make sure nothing is in the way, and then you lock it in place. Now we're gonna secure this head unit together with the original bolts. So we'll start with the ones on direct at the back. So at this point we installed enough bolts, so we installed right at the back and on the sides, and we're gonna take it to the car and quickly test everything to make sure that the original screen works and that the touch screen works, and then we're gonna bring it back to do the final assembly. So in order to test, we need to connect these two connections at the back of the screen. 1 and 2, and we're just gonna rest the screen there, and then we're gonna take our the climate control panel and the radio control panel together, and we'll connect the big one. And now we're gonna turn on our ignition. Once the ignition turns on, you're gonna look at the screen, make sure that the original Infiniti logo comes up, and you're gonna test the touch screen. As you can see, the touch screen worked, and this is good enough for our testing. The rest of the stuff will not work, but as you can see, the original screen is displaying everything. So now we can assemble it. So we have the bolts left on the sides here to reinstall. Now this is the bracket that goes at the back of the screen. So with the hole, that's where the bolt goes. This is the bottom. This is the top of the screen. The top of the screen can be found by these two white connections. So I'm going to slide the bracket over and secure it with the original bolts. So the screen has been fully reassembled. So this is our main harness that we need to connect. So these two white connections are going to be connected right here to the original ones. And then on the other side of the harness, we have a USB cable. And then we have the connection that goes into our module. So we'll start first with connecting these two. So we have our female end, and the original one will go inside of it. Same here. We're gonna feed the main harness and the USB. We're gonna feed it behind this frame towards the vent here. And we're gonna feed the USB there. So this connection will stay here because our module will actually be right here. And then the USB cable we need to hide, and the very good spot on this car is the actual glove box. So we're gonna open up the glove box. If you look from here from the side, you're gonna see an opening of where you can feed the wire through, so it gets inside our glove box. There you go. Now the USB inside the glove box. We can just leave it here. So now we can start connecting our original screen back. So first we'll do the bottom row. and then we'll do the top row. That's the easiest way to do this. So the top row, you start, and then depends on the options of the car. So when we're removing the screen, I only had these 4 cables out of the 5. So they're all color coded. So just plug them in to the original spots. And then we're gonna take these connections, which are now our cables, and plug them in the back. And here, carefully, in order for the screen to go back in fully, you have to tuck everything behind the dash. So use your hands and maneuver all of the cables carefully so the screen has space. And then don't forget that we also have our cable that we brought out of the screen. Make sure not to yank on it. That's it. The screen goes back in. So there on each side there are these guide clips that you have to line up. Also look in the middle here that this one lines up, and it does. So we're going to secure the screen with the bolt in the middle. Remember, the one that holds the screen in place, it's a silver bolt with the different thread on it. So now we also have our wireless antenna, which we need to secure behind the dash. So main thing is that you don't install it onto the module. Don't stick it to the module. So behind here, you need to find the flat spots over here. There's a good spot on the side here where we can secure our antenna. So I'm gonna reach there. Make sure you take your time to do this. And now we can feed our antenna wire through. So what you should end up with is this cable from the screen. This is the main harness, and this is our antenna. As you can see, this cable is kind of in the way of the vent, so we're gonna loop it behind here underneath this bracket. It goes nicely on the side of the vent. And now we're gonna start connecting everything. Connect our power harness here, and then move everything to the side. And this module, so you're gonna lift up this bracket, and there's just enough space for everything to slide through. And then here you end up with the connection for your antenna, and then you're gonna connect the connection for the screen. Now we're gonna maneuver the wires. So here again, it's out of the way. All of the extra wire, hide it. And then don't forget that this is for the clock, and this is the climate control panel. At this point, we can reinstall the vents. So we're gonna reconnect the clock and make sure that you don't lose this wire behind. Maneuver the vents carefully here around the top. Push them in. We can now reinstall the 3 bolts that hold the vents in place. Now our climate control panel, make sure that you connect it here. And then before putting it in, you're gonna maneuver this cable in between. Then we're able to clip this in. And without securing it yet, and without securing this one, we're gonna test everything before we assemble it fully. So with the ignition is on, as you can see, the original Infiniti screen is on, and we're gonna test it with this iPhone. So whichever phone that you're testing with the system, make sure that it's paired by Bluetooth to the original Infiniti system for sound. That's how we're gonna get sound out of CarPlay or Android Auto. And then, as you can see here, we're gonna press and hold the back button. And once it switches over, you get this extra mode, which you didn't have before. So at this point, we're just gonna test the wire first. Of course, our kit supports wireless, but we're testing the wire. So first, you're gonna test everything here with these controls, so everything works. You're then gonna test the touch screen. You also will test the audio for music, that it works over original Bluetooth. Now we need to reinstall the 2 bolts under the climate control panel. Next is this one, so just secure it and push it in. Now these trim pieces, so first you have to insert and connect them towards the front of the car here, and then you push it towards the side. Same on the driver's side. These are the last two bolts. And then this cover. So the installation has been completed, and now you can enjoy Apple CarPlay and Android Auto on your Infiniti Q70. I hope you liked the video, and we'll see you next time.